You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Emergency Podcast here, reacting on TKO Thursday. For those that are watching along and watching this video, we're calling it TKO Thursday because WWE ENDEVOR TKO Holdings announced today a lot of different things are happening. This is a roller coaster of emotions. If you're a WWE fan or a wrestling fan in the world of wrestling, first and foremost, let's talk about the TV deal, the big news. Friday Night Smackdown, as of October of 2024, that's a whole full year from now, will no longer be on the Fox affiliate. It will be moving over to the USA Network with NBC Universal, moving the Friday Night Spectacular to the USA Network, but also comes four primetime slots on the NBC channels on live WWE television, like maybe Monday night, like a Saturday night main event, but I don't know what day they're going to be. It's going to be 4 primetime live shows there. That's going to be that's very interesting. That's very exciting, especially you move SmackDown at $1.4 billion roughly for 5 years, and there's also talks of SmackDown going 3 hours now on the USA Network. So SmackDown will be getting that extra hour, filling that content but with that comes that now Monday Night Raw and the NXT program might not or will not be on the USA Network. Now, my opinion to that is, why not? If you're NBC Universal, why not sign and be the monopoly of the wrestling? You keep Monday Night Raw, you keep NXT. Friday Night SmackDown is a hot commodity right now. They're drawing numbers in the 2 million viewership. Why not keep all 3 brands on your network? Also, when you still have the Peacock. I don't know if the Peacock premium live events will continue to go. I haven't heard any of that. They're going to be going. There was rumors they'll go back to traditional pay-per-views, the way the UFC does it with their pay-per-views event, with $49.99 or whatever the case is they want to charge there at that time. But they haven't mentioned about the platform, the streaming platform. Personally, if you're Universal NBC, you want to stay and keep all the 3 wrestling shows there on all the content that they have, WWE have, with from all the tables for 1, tables for 3, the Stone Cold podcast, you name it, Level Up, and it'd be interesting to see if they're going to move there. There's been talks about Amazon Prime jumping in to try to acquire Monday Night Raw's rights with the NXT brand on the streaming platform. And ABC, remember, they're affiliated with the UFC, WWE now. They have a good contract with ESPN. Maybe they'll put Monday Night Raw on a Monday. They move it to Monday nights. Although, that's kind of, I guess they really want to grab all the ratings with Monday Night Football during the winter time, Monday Night Raw. They want to vice versa that, and the NXT will probably be on ESPN, ESPN2, or on a streaming platform, maybe ESPN Plus. We could always see that money talks, everything else walks. That is the interesting note there with the money when it comes to that, and they're going to, and that's what these mergers do. Well, we knew that the furlough of employees from the main offices of WWE headquarters. I was going to say Titan headquarters, but they're no longer Titan Sports. From the WWE headquarters, we're going to get the pink slip, and now it has dropped down to the talent. Before the talent, now there's rumors and breaking news just came through. There's rumors that Vince McMahon himself might be out of the whole TKO ENDEVOR merger, barring an investigation, of course, that he has the SEC. And that's not, there's still a lot of loose ends here when it comes to Vince McMahon with this merger, with everything. My goodness, the more you peel, this got layers. The more you peel it, the more it stinks. And That's part of the business size when you're dealing with billionaires. You know, right now, was it Axios is reporting on FCC finding hints that Vince McMahon may be leaving the WWE. So maybe he is. You listen, he's an old man who has, you know, he was walking in a cane. They said that he addressed he had a meeting, he addressed a few people. He was walking with a cane. Age is catching up to him. He's done a lot in this business, but maybe it's time for him. Maybe it is time for him to hang it up and sell and put it in the hands of others. And it looks like that there. But when business, whenever you're running a billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, when you merge, there's going to be a lot of releases. And I got the names of the releases here, and I also have their pictures, and of course a lot of names came out there, and this is from the WWE main roster right now. And here's the releases of the WWE main roster. You've got names of Dolph Ziggler. The one that puzzles me the most, and I'll get to him, I'm going to skip that name. I'm going to go with Shelton Benjamin, phenomenal career, veteran. Elias, who wasn't even used, you know, with the Ezekiel Elias gimmick that didn't really click, you know, for, I don't know if it's his attitude or what. At the end of the day, he wasn't being used. Emma and Riddick Moss, they just got engaged. Interesting with that with Emma, now that the WWE announced that they're going to Australia for a premium live event, Elimination Chamber will be in Australia. You wouldn't want to keep, you would like to have kept you know, as many Australian talent to, you know, I know they're going to sell just by saying WWE, but you want to bring some of these talented wrestlers back to their homeland. Doesn't mean that Emma cannot return back at the Royal Rumble, and maybe they give her a shot, another run in the company, but maybe as of for now they'll release Emma with Riddick Moss. Listen, Riddick Moss, I didn't like his madcap gimmick. I thought he was corny. I thought, you know, with the suspenders, it only went as far as Baron Corbin. I always said Riddick Moss should have been teamed up with, personally, they should have tag teamed him with Ron Breakker. They would have been a young Steiner Brothers tag team to let them go out there and recap it. And I'm surprised with Rick Boogs, another one. You know, we saw that him and Shinsuke Nakamura 2 years ago at that WrestleMania against the Usos. He tore his ACL. He rehabbed, came back, never picked up back with Nakamura, never picked back in television. I thought, you know, they were teasing Rick Boogs and Elias, possibly a feud, but that didn't go anywhere. They didn't heat that up either. Rick Boogs and Matt Moss would have been a good tag team. Listen, you got the Viking Raiders out there wrestling each and every week. I mean, you know, in modern day wrestling where Viking gimmicks don't go over, and they still utilize them, and wrestle week after week. I thought you could have Matt Cass and Riddick Moss and Rick Boogs be a tag team. Go out there, turn them heel. You know, maybe, you know, turn them heel. No more of the goofy guitars and the happy smiling. Maybe just go out there and be a punishing group and let them be a bunch of heels. I think you might have lost an opportunity on a good tag team pairing. But if you weren't using them, you need to cut budget. You know what? It's business. It's a cold business, and I understand why they did that. And then Top Dollar. Now, Top Dollar was the one that surprised me because I'm looking for his partners. PFAB. I think she could really be utilized in the women division. I think she's very talented. She has a look. I think she's another one who creative needs to give her a repaint or re-gimmick. I actually thought Top Dollar should have stayed with the WWE, and I think Ashante the Adonis is the one that had to be released. No offense to you. I know you're probably a good in-ring performer, but Top Dollar fits with WWE. Like, he's a big guy, tall. Big guy, tall. He could have been a mafioso, Godfather type. Not the Godfather with the Legend Hall of Fame Godfather, but I'm talking about not like a crime boss, but a no nonsense heel. I think what hurt at Top Dollar was that flip over the moonsault that he couldn't land, and I think that just stood in a lot of WWE fans' base mind and a lot of creative, and I think that's where he lost a lot of the locker room or anyone or any of the bookers or agents that really thought a lot about poor Francis, you know, Top Dollar. I wish him nothing but the best of luck. He's a very, very vocal on Twitter. And maybe they said he was a little too vocal, maybe too vocal backstage. That's politics. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. So I'm not going to say here and that's the truth, or I don't know. But good luck for him. He's got the look. He's got the height. He's got the look. He has a microphone. I think he has a more future than the other partner on Hit Row. And I think PFAB has a talented career ahead of her. She's been through the Performance Center. All three, in the Performance Center know the WWE way, but it's interesting. It's the only top dollar wasn't released. Aaliyah was another name that was released. Haven't seen Aaliyah in quite some time as she's dropped the tag team titles. Her moment, Aaliyah 316 in that match, beating in 3 seconds and 3.16 seconds on the quickest pin there. For Aaliyah, wasn't being used, wasn't utilized. A lot of folks, the IWC wasn't feeling her either when she was coming out, not being utilized. You could see that writing on the wall was there. Dolph Ziggler. Now that's an interesting character to release. Dolph Ziggler, we saw him go down to NXT, help out Braun Breaker, with that program with Braun on that stand and deliver, capturing the NXT title, going and dropping it to Braun Breaker on that Monday Night Raw. Ziggler, a hell of a worker, professional who just knows what his role was. Go out there, enhance talent, help talent get over, safe in-ring, veteran, and interesting that he is released. Don't be surprised if we see him returning for a Rumble. Maybe for a short term, come back for the Royal Rumble. That's so Ziggler in the WWE and Shelton Benjamin. And again, veteran, not being utilized too much. I would have liked to see Shelton Benjamin, and I've said it time and time again, I would have liked to see Shelton Benjamin in a managerial mentor role with the Diamond Mine, with the Creed brothers. When Roderick Strong was in his panties and didn't know if he wanted to be in the WWE, was unhappy, and there was a little dissension. I would have liked him to walk down Shelton Benjamin, to work with the Diamond Mine, with Creed brothers, along with some of the other talented wrestlers down there before they did start doing that now. About a year ago, I kept saying that Benjamin is not doing nothing on the roster. Send them down to NXT, not to be a talent, but to be a mentor, like a managerial. And I keep saying it time and time again. WWE needs to start making managers as well, as especially for some of these younger talent that they're very athletic and with DIA but can't cut promos yet. Doesn't know the psychological back and forth on a promo, how to hit, how to captivate, or how to hit those points. You got Benjamin as a mouthpiece for certain wrestlers. It would have worked. Him leading the Diamond Mine, getting them ready, getting them geared. Maybe now in a couple months we had Alpha Academy versus Diamond Mine. That would have been something. Now that Survivor Series is coming up, if they and the Creed brothers are ready to come up to the main roster. So just think if they would have done this a year ago, Benjamin leading Diamond Mine, Alpha Academy, you could have had something cooking there. You could have, should have, but Shelton Benjamin, a veteran, I don't know if he's going to be in the business, probably an agent, a booker. Good luck for him. Maybe he'll make a run at Impact Wrestling. Who knows on that there. Elias, already rumors are speculating with Elias NWA. We saw EC3 is a new NWA World Champion, and there's a lot of rumors and saying that he might be heading to. I heard that earlier on Busted Open, so I want to give Busted Open their flowers and their credit on that as well. I heard the interview with EC3 up there, and the one name that surprised me because he's scheduled to be in Bakersfield on the 30th of September. He won a number one contenders match, was Mustafa Ali. Now Mustafa Ali never got through that stink, and even Dijak. I'm surprised, that he never got through that stink. And I'll put the pictures of the folks that I got released here. Never got through that stink with the Retribution gimmick. That's something that hurt them really, really bad, in my opinion. For Mustafa Ali, never got the real big push. Kind of job at times at Smackdown and Raw. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. A lot of folks will say like to see him go to AEW. The way Khan values the lighter weight wrestler, like a Mustafa Ali type, he could have success there. Also, New Japan Wrestling will be a phenomenal place for him to go out there with the G1s and tournament and what all that kind of cruiserweights out there will be phenomenal for him and his wrestling skill, because Mustafa Ali is a very, very entertaining wrestler. The character wise, of course, not his fault with the retribution. He could cut a good promo. He is a good promo cutter. I just thought that he wasn't given a fair shake in the WWE. I think, sometimes you have to go make a path elsewhere, because they only remember your negative stuff or the last things that failed. And that retribution has a very bad stench for poor Mustafa Ali in the WWE. I thought personally, he was going to be your North American champion. I thought, I was ready to watch. I was going to watch that NXT watch along coming up on the 30th. I'm thinking, I think Mustafa takes the title from Dominic Mysterio here, or Dom could just now go back to Raw, and I didn't think, and I thought Mustafa Ali was going to be your North American champion, but things change. Things change. We've heard in the past that he's been very unhappy with his role in the WWE. Maybe he just doesn't like coming every Tuesday to NXT. He does live, I believe, in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, and it's not a long flight. There's a lot of direct flights from Chicago to Orlando, but I guess he thought it was degrading for him to come to NXT, especially not even world title aspiration, but North American title. Maybe that's something that he voices complaint about, and maybe that's a reason why he's no longer part of the WWE release. So interesting to see for Mustafa Ali. Now, we've been rumored that at 5 p.m. we're going to have the NXT releases. Myself, that goes Tuesday nights. You saw Tuesday nights along with Terrence and everyone that watches along with us. That you see there, we tend to go to the NXT, and they become not like a family, but you watch them each and every week. You're invested in these characters. It'll be sad to see who gets released from the NXT rosters at 5 o'clock with that calling names that might be in some danger. I hate to speculate that. I don't want to speculate. I don't like to speculate. I hope no one from the NXT roster gets cut, to be honest with you. But people that are not being used, like Quincy Elliott, I hope not. I hope I'm totally wrong. I hope I'm not speaking into existence. Quincy could be in some trouble. Even Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak, he's not really hitting. There's really nothing really for him much in NXT there. He's trying to mentor Charlie Dempsey. Unless if Gulak is going to be a manager. I always keep saying managerial. They need to develop. They need to start developing managers who can talk on the microphone for some of these guys there. Some of these wrestlers that I haven't seen, like Brooklyn. Brooklyn coming back from injury, haven't seen her much in the ring. She might be in danger. There's a lot of other NXT that have been there for a while and haven't got yet the call up, and they're just doing the thumb. Dijak could be in some trouble. I know Dijak has a strap match coming up Tuesday on NXT against Eddie Thorpe. He hasn't really hit, Double Cable could be one that could be given the pink slip. There is nothing for him there. He's just nothing to show. So it's interesting to see there. Let me bring in Terrence here. We're going to comment on this here. Mr. Tribal T. Terrence, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
All right, man.
What's going on?
Giving my opinions here on the wrestlers that were been released. We were talking about that at 5 p.m. Rumors has it that the NXT roster that's going to get released is coming up as well. So it's a lot of crazy things there. It's sad though, because we invest our time to watch these NXT wrestlers. No, nothing for sure. That's just rumored. So and hopefully no one gets released from the NXT roster. Now let's talk about the main roster here. For me, my shocking main roster release was Mustafa Ali, because he was scheduled to be on Bakersfield in California for No Mercy. He was the number one contender for the North American title. Now he's not released. That's going to show something crazy on on the storyline wise.
Yeah, they. So when that happened, I thought that was just like him just leaving. Like I wasn't thinking that was gonna be the catalyst, like the start to all the releases that we had so far today. Um, he was pretty much the only one that was like in a program that was being used,
Right.
as far as everybody else. So not saying it's right that they got released, because I was still shocked with Dolph Ziggler. Like they could have found stuff for them to do. Um, but at the same time, they weren't really doing anything besides Mustafa Ali, which even before he came to NXT, he was kind of like he wasn't really doing too much of anything, to be honest. Anyway, um, and I'm not glad that anybody got released, but it's to me the most shocking one was Dolph's, but the most surprising one, I guess, was him because he had a match against Dom like in about a week or so. So we'll see what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, I was saying earlier before you came on, the Mustafa Ali, maybe he has been vocal in the past about being unhappy, with push, and not in some title runs, not being utilized. They sent him here to NXT, although the crowd really gave him a really nice welcome back. They really were behind Mustafa Ali. But maybe since he's a guy who lives out of Chicago, traveling every Tuesday to Orlando, maybe a little bit degrading for him. He's been unhappy before, very vocal when he's not unhappy, and then putting him in a program with the North American title, where instead of going to the World Heavyweight title, NXT World Champion, maybe that might have been something he was even more vocal, and maybe he's just a vocal person backstage that always complaining. They get labeled as a complainer, and I'm not saying this is factual. I don't want to misconstrue and say that Mustafa Ali, that's why he got fired. No. I'm saying maybe what led to this, because if you're booked for a title for a number one contender, and then you get the acts like that, it's got to be something that you also brought upon yourself to make that decision quicker. Because I can't think of anything else. We saw him on Tuesday. When I did the watch along, he got a promo this Tuesday, and it was kind of weird, his promo, and I'm like, okay, he's getting ready for, he was complaining on the promo, why is Dragon Lee having a title match on Monday Night Raw when he's the number one contender? How did he jump the line? And that's how the promo ended. So then today he gets, yes, and now he gets the pink slip. Could he have that? Could he have mine complain? And that was out of script from the complaining on the promo, or I don't, because everyone's thinking it smells like triple threat. Thought that Mustafa was going to interfere on Monday Night Raw, and now it's going to set up for that triple threat match at No Mercy. So now it's like, I want to see how they get out of this one.
Yeah, it was weird because like I just seen it, and then like when I was going back to read his Twitter profile, I seen that same thing. He pretty much reiterated what he said in the promo, just like in the promo it was, I guess, a little bit more like scripted or whatever, sort of. So like I thought that was a bit weird. I don't think they have a 90-day non-compete clause or something like that, right?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I think, I'm not saying any one of them are going to come back, but if they had to choose, which I think it probably, if I was to choose, I would say I would bring back at least, I would say Dolph, but then again, like I don't know what program to throw him in with, because like recently before he got, the most recent thing that he had before he got the boot, I want to say, it's with JD, and then like now he's kind of absent or whatever, so I don't know what's going on with that. I hope he's not one of the other ones getting released either, although it's been pretty quiet so far for a few hours. So then I had commented on Twitter when they had said NXT releases are going to happen at 5 o'clock. I said, how did they get the time and everything like that?
Right.
What's going on, man? Like, geez, like,
right. That's
they put the time in there, like we're anticipating on, like, like it's like somebody's big return. Well, 5 o'clock, this is going to happen. Like, we're not begging, we're not you know, we don't want anybody to be released, but man, I just hope some of my favorites are not released if this is indeed true. Um, but yeah, it was a weird day. Leah, I like Leah. She got released. They weren't using her. I don't know what happened, but
Aaliyah wasn't being used for almost a year now. When she dropped those women's title, it wasn't being used much. Like we said, we could go through all these different wrestlers that were out there. Rick Booz wasn't being really used. He just for a Snicker commercial. Other than that, he wasn't really used. Top Dollar wasn't used either. Just but I'm shocked that he's the one that got released. And I mentioned it earlier. I think BFAB, she's talented. I think they could use her. Of course, they could always use women, extra women, or more women to tell a story there. But if I had to choose of all 3 members, and I wouldn't want any of the members, I'm not saying I'm advocating for a member of anyone to be released, but it should have been Adonis to get fired. Not Top Dollar. Top Dollar, you could still repackage him as a heel and just turn him instead of smiling and all that. Just real mean, go out there. He fits. He's big, tall dude. He's a big guy, 6'5", 6'7". Big guy there. Despite the fact, I think he just couldn't overcome that moonsault that he missed on the outside. He's just a butt of a joke. But you could have had him there with. Now you have Big Brunson Reed. You also got Omos. You got a lot of big guys that you also got in this year with a couple with Top Dollar. I'm surprised that his partner didn't get released. He's the one that really got to go. There is no use for him.
I was gonna say because before you mentioned that, I forgot about him this year. To be honest, I thought if anything that they probably would have been one of the ones to be released. But yeah, when I saw that Top Dollar thing, I was thinking that it'd be a whole group thing like last time, 2021 or 22 or whatever. It'll be him, then it'll be Adonis, then it'll be big, but it was just him. It was a little weird. So, I mean, not for nothing positive. If you want to go ahead and join AEW with his buddy, they can reform the group there. That'd be pretty nice.
Yes. That would be good. That'd be good for him there. And speaking of that, with all the releases now. With all the releases and all that, we got the Con Man all excited, man. Look at the picture of him. They showed a picture of Tony Khan ready to go. He's all excited for all the releases coming up, and he's chopping on the bit there. My goodness. I got something funny to say. I just thought about a couple of seconds ago. So, Emma posted on before she got fired. She posted on when WWE announced they're gonna be in Australia. And she put it's a dream or something like that or whatever. And then after that, another tweet came out and she's like, "Oh, just kidding" or whatever. Something like she got released basically. I just thought about something. Right.
Not today. You're like, Australia. Just make a joke about it, but I was like, hey, man.
Yeah. And the thing is that it's been a roller coaster. Today is TKO Thursday. Just the title of the thumbnail and the video is TKO. You got TKO from everywhere. Release of a talent. You also hear that now Smackdown is no longer on Friday nights. On the Fox network. It will be moving now to the USA network starting next year in October. Now Raw and NXT might not be on the USA network. Now they're looking for a new home because they flip flop there, which I personally think it's a stupid move. Because I will if I'm you and you're not you at NBC Universal, I'm keeping all 3 of the shows on that network. And you got the Peacock already for the premium live events. You keep the shows going. Don't change anything. People are tuning in already. I guess they talking about Amazon Prime now going there. ABC. I can see if they were all going on to ESPN or ABC because of the UFC already has a good working relationship with ABC Sports. With Disney, I can see that there. But once again, Fox dropping the ball on good thing. They always do that. They do that with so many of their programs. Fox, I don't get those idiots that running the network. I don't see how they did that. They did that when they did with a lot of programs that they start the show. They start even some of the shows that get you invested. decide to pull the plug midway through, and you're like, and now they did it with wrestling. They didn't see the big picture here. You need wrestling. Fox was getting these numbers because it was on over-the-air antenna on your local Fox affiliate. I've said it many times, when there's people who don't have the cable, they have the rabbit ears, or they're in the hospital. You take your kids to the emergency room on a Friday night. They put the TV on. They have Smackdown. They'll control the kids a little bit watching Smackdown. Nursing homes, other places where they could get free over the air. Even when someone's sitting in the hospital at bed and they put the free TV, they got Smackdown on. Not all hospitals have cable, and they have wrestling to keep them entertained for a few hours. So I'm like, they're dropping the ball here, big picture, because Fox is chasing over the college football. Now with all the realignments and all that stuff they're running after college football, which I understand it can draw them a lot of big numbers. But one thing good about all that was now we're getting 4 live events on NBC, like Saturday night's main event, but it's going to be now in primetime.
Yeah, I thought that was when I initially seen that, I seen it said SmackDown going to USA. And then I was like, okay, cool, it's going to join Raw and NXT or whatever. Which is still not really like set in stone that Raw and NXT won't be on the USA. But when I seen it said it could possibly end the deal between Raw and NXT, I was like, initially I was like, so where is it going? Like, WWE has the money; they could keep all 3 networks on there. And then again, like I think they have enough money for Fox. I think it was, like you said, I think it was just like a Fox thing, or them being, I guess, selfish or something like that. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but I enjoy having them on Fox. Just like for a little example, it's like when, even though I didn't like the FS1 thing, when we couldn't get, SmackDown on Fox for 1 week, and they still had a SmackDown airing the show, at least they had like an alternate channel for us to like flip and turn to. Even though that's a kind of a cable network, I guess, similar to FS1. It's not really a antenna type channel, but at least they had like an alternative thing with it. But I mean, I'm not mad that it's on USA Network, because like I like USA Network. USA Network is hosted, which is another thing. USA Network has hosted Raw for years.
Yes.
Not really including the they had like a little hiatus with Raw, and it was on Spike TV, I believe, at one point in time, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like Raw, USA and Raw is pretty much like hand in hand. And then for them to like, I hope they just stay on Mondays. I don't want them to. It'll be weird to see them on Raw, like Wednesday night Raw, or any other day of the week will be super weird. I just hope, all in all, I hope if they can find some kind of deal or something that they can do, they at least stay. If they can't keep NXT on USA, at least keep Raw with SmackDown. I'd settle for that, and to keep it on Mondays. That would be good, because then that'd be another thing for kind of the separation, I guess you want to say, with Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Was NXT is its own kind of like low-key separate brand, because it'll be on another network, and also like the build up to being on the main roster. Like, let's just say you're on another network like ABC or whatever. ABC is hosting NXT every Tuesday or whatever, something like that. And then like for the people to get promoted, whoever gets promoted, they get promoted to another channel. So like that brings more viewers from the ABC channel to the USA Network channel to see them on the main roster, whether that be Raw or SmackDown. Which is weird. I just thought about that, just going off at the mouth. But at least I would set up, at least just keep Raw on USA Network. You have to move NXT, move it, but just keep the same nights. I think Wednesday NXT was on Wednesdays, I think, before, right? Like a while back.
On streaming platform, not on the USA, on the streaming platform. Now that I'm glad you mentioned ABC, because the rumor, one of the early rumors is Raw will be going to ABC, and NXT will be on ESPN Plus or ESPN 2, like one of those type of off channels. Where I say to myself, well, ABC is really going to put Monday Night Raw versus Monday Night Football on the same network? It's like, I guess they want to double dip. They feel like it's going to be in house for within the company, and they don't really have to worry about the rating, one rating to beat the other, because it's ABC, it's still Disney. So maybe that's the route they're going to go, where Monday Night Raw will be on ABC free channel. You know what? If they end up on the free ABC affiliate, Monday Night Raw, then you know what? The SmackDown move doesn't feel that bad, because at the end of the day, my gripe is they got to give one, WWE, I hope they give one of the shows to over-the-air free antenna TVs. Because guess what? Even if they might not afford the cable, they might not afford the streaming platform, they get to watch it over the air. But when they have money, they're going to buy merchandise. They're going to go to live events. They're going to still follow your product. And maybe when your product is really hot and growing, maybe they, you know what, the $5.99 or whatever it is, if it's still for the Peacock, they might just continue to buy that, or go to a live house show, because they're seeing WWE. And I understand they want to, now a lot of folks want to give you that FOMO, fear of missing out, where they're taking everything, put it on behind a streaming paywall, and you're like, oh man, if Amazon. I understand they're going with that mindset. Well, everyone's going to pay the $140 for Amazon Prime to get the free videos and stuff. Yeah, but not everybody. You know what? Newsflash: not everybody's paying the Prime membership. They did that with the NFL Thursday Night Football. They're moving everything away. Not everyone. You know what? Things are getting more. Not everyone has that. Little kids. That's how you feel. You build a new fan base with the young. Listen, I became a wrestling fan because I used to watch it on Fox for free on Wrestling Challenge, Wrestling Superstars. I would watch that, and we knew they were taped delayed. They were taped, but you know what? We got into wrestling because of that. Monday, how many times Saturday Night Main Event was always taped. It used to come out at 11 o'clock at night. No one, when we were kids, when we were little, we thought it was live. It was taped. It was the tape delayed. But we got into wrestling for that because it was over the air free. I know different time, different world. I understand, because now USA been around. Been watching Raw for 30 years on the USA Network. You got cable for Raw, but that's going away. Now, if you even have basic cable, that's going away, because now it's going to streaming apps. I understand it's moving, changing time, but listen, everyone wants to dish this, man. Everyone wants to put the money, dish money, because it's a lot. It's a lot to ask for entertainment. Everything is app. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally, when I'd seen them to have alternate moves for NXT, and they mentioned Amazon and Disney, I was like, what? Amazon and Disney? I would rather watch it on another, I don't want to have to watch Raw or NXT. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's more easily accessible, and you don't really have to pay. You already paying enough money for cable if you have that, but it's much more accessible to at least watch it on another channel, in my opinion, regardless of watching it on Amazon or Disney.
Absolutely.
Which, I was like, Amazon. When I seen the Amazon part of it, I was like, okay. But then they went to Disney. I was like, nah, because me growing up, my mind thinking Disney is for almost to maybe 15, 16-year-old kids and stuff like that, or whatever like that. That's what immediately registers for me, per se. But to have it then, let's just say they're not going to do that. I'm not saying they're not going to do that ever. What if they want to make it a little bit more edgier or something like that? Because Raw is pretty much, it's been a little edgier over the years. Not recently, but over the years. You don't want to have that on a Disney network, because then if you do, then it's basically going to be PG.
Right.
I don't know. I would rather
you can't go back to your history. You can't revisit your history, Terrence, because Raw was rated R with when Trish and Lita, the bra and panty matches and the hardcore matches and this and that. You can't go. What are you gonna put a black dot on you or blow out the history of Raw because you're on Disney? That's another thing that they have to think about. That's a lot of different things there. So it's interesting to see where they're at, and for the pink slip termination there. It makes a lot of to me, it raises a lot of different questions, Terrence, because they just had an influx of people trying out in the Performance Center. They brought a lot of independent wrestlers trying out, And if you're going to release people, why bring in some more crop of new people? That must be this. It's kind of like Heckle and Jekyll there. You know, we've seen a lot of people get, we're hearing all different types of new hires as well. The company, you know, recently Nick Aldis is a producer in WWE. That's official. That was said by his wife. She said that, you know, she's like, you know what? She felt bad that last week they had to go to Canada for a prior commitment that he had, and he missed out meeting The Rock in Colorado. And Nick Aldis loves The Rock, and he says the day that he was supposed to produce that whole segment, and he was in Canada, and he didn't know The Rock was going to be there. He was so bummed out. That was why his wife Mickey James on Busted Open. She said so. He already hired with the WWE. There's hires already. They're hiring different people, but now we've seen, you know, they want to hire a bunch of people, but they want to get more people. But they just got $1.4 billion, you know, for the next 5 years to move over a network deal. So it's a lot of roller coaster of emotion. Plus, the biggest bombshell here that now the FCC, McMahon might be out again. Miss McMahon might be out. The SEC filings, there might be some grievances. He might have to sell his portion. And now back to the square one, McMahon finally out again.
That's another one that I thought about, that Shinsuke promo. Because and somebody put it on Twitter, it said Vince McMahon selling WWE and like making it official or whatever, thinking he's gonna get more power and stuff like that, not just over WWE but like a part of UFC. And then like I was like, not today.
Yeah. No, not today. Again.
Mm-mm.
He's under investigation, and now he might be done. And look, we all knew that the pink slips and the merger. Everyone knows when big corporations, there's always going to be furlough, there's going to be layoffs. We know that. We knew that coming in there. And you know what? It is not. And again, the list of names that are gone from the WWE right now, talent wise, other than Mustafa Ali, we could put a case that we knew that might have been a possibility. The reason they haven't been used, you know,
Yeah.
And they're not going to get rid of some of the young NXT call ups, you know, like the Big O, you know, they just brought them up, you know, the ladies, Katana Chance and Carter, she just closed on a house, so they're still not out of the woods there, you know. One of the ladies could close on a house, so. Tegan Knox, another one, Johnny Gargano, Karrion Kross, those names are out there that could be an opportunity. Not seen much time, especially Johnny Gargano hasn't been seeing much TV time. You know, it's still a little bit. You know, if Vince could be and could be the one cutting, because I don't think Triple H is the one. It's hard to tell. We don't know. It doesn't feel like it's Triple H. He's give me a chance. I'll work. I'll make these folks work. But it's easy to point at Vince, but man, you know, that's tough. That's a tough one. That's part of the.
Yeah, I don't think it's Triple H. I think it's because, like, again, like, proof of me saying that it's not Triple H is when the first time Vince had to step down and Triple H took over. All of a sudden, the product got better, like much better than it was. And he wasn't the one doing all this releasing and firing and stuff like that. No, he brought back people. Product got better for most of the shows and stuff like that. Even NXT got better. So I don't know. It'll be ironic if Vince was to step down and then that would happen again. Like everything would get much better. And then we can kind of like low key point the finger at Vince. But I mean, you know, it's unfortunate. But I thought, like, you know, when they said releases was going to happen with this whole TKO thing, I kind of like. I low-key thought it would be some talent, but then like I also thought because like it was going to be more people like behind the scenes, like the stuff people that we don't see, like the creators and the marketing or whoever's working in WWE headquarters and stuff like that. I really think it was going to be too much of the talent that's getting released. But I mean, hopefully if this is it, it's it. Nothing else is going to happen for the rest of the year.
I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, cut it. I mean, you know, hopefully that's it. Hopefully we don't have anyone, you know, besides. And now we have a couple wrestlers who our contracts are coming to expiration. Which that I don't have any. You know what? I don't have any worries on that because they just signed. They're getting an influx of money. By the way, Smackdown is going now to 3 hours long. So SmackDown will be on the USA Network for 3 hours long. So that's going to be another where they're going to put more wrestlers, more. There's going to be more opportunities for more storylines there, especially if Triple H is in creative and he has a creative team. That's going to help out. Yeah, that's I heard that Busted Open. Yeah, Busted Open. I heard on the Busted Open on XM Radio. Cheap plug for them. I like to listen to them in the morning when they come out.
So if they was to, or regardless of what they do with Raw, does Raw stay 3 hours, or does that?
That's the question. I don't know what channel, what network, and what channel they're going to go on. That's the question. Because if they goes Monday, if they go to ABC network when they're going to use ABC affiliate, I don't see them going on 3 hours on an ABC affiliate. I can't see it. Because 10 o'clock is usually the hour they want to give you like some type of drama show, or some type of drama show, something goofy on Monday night when it comes to ABC. I don't see it going 3 hours Raw unless it stays on the USA Network, because the USA Network is fine with it. They're fine with the ratings. They're fine with them at 3. That's why it doesn't make sense why USA is going to drop Raw and NXT. I don't, and we all saw that on Fashion Week. We saw Triple H sitting down with Amir Mario as well as Bezos. We saw them there, negotiations, talks, yada yada, all that going there. But it's only time will tell on that. There, only time will tell if they're going to make that Raw back to 2 hours, or is it going to stay 3 hours long? It's an interesting aspect when it comes to the wrestling right now. Wrestling is hot right now. Fox, I guess they think college football is a thing, especially with the reemergence, with all these conferences, playoffs, implication. They want to go to college football. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because college football at the end of the day is still going to draw. Wrestling has its highs and lows. Maybe they think wrestling is at its ultimate high and they just dip down. They're not going to, they're probably thinking that this is the highest or the peak they're going to get when it comes to wrestling. And it's just maybe because they feel that there's so much wrestling now. And be honest with you, I'm going to be honest with you, there is a lot of wrestling though. It's starting to get, maybe there might be a little too much wrestling now. If we go 3 hours, that's 6 hours of W6 plus 2, you're talking about 8 hours of wrestling content plus the premium live event. And that's nothing. If you're a diehard wrestling fan, you're also consuming All Elite Wrestling as well as Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling. So that's a lot of wrestling, that's a lot of wrestling to consume. So it's interesting to see. Maybe the network see that there's too much wrestling out there. It's too much, and they're reaching their peak, and they're only going to tend to decline. Hopefully not. We didn't even speak about New Japan Wrestling. Now they're merging. Not merging, but doing shows with All Elite Wrestling, with pay-per-views, and trying to grab an audience there as well. So there's a lot of wrestling now when Netflix now with. Going with the OVW now, maybe OVW now starts streaming on Netflix with the Al Snow. If you haven't watched that, I'm already up to episode 4. That is a very good program. It's called Wrestlers. You see the ins and outs of these people. You feel for them because they're busting. They're trying to live a dream. The money and the release here today, it kind of hit me a little harder because I watched a little bit of the documentary, see what they go through. Some of these guys got 9-to-5 jobs and they're trying to wrestle, and you can see they got beat up cars, and all they want to do is live a dream, and then they just get released, and they and they have to sell merchandise, and they probably make $50 a night, just because of their work. And seeing all these WWE releases, like, damn, that's kind of rough, but it is, that's the nature of the business, bro. That's the nature of the business when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, because WWE is pretty much, as far as wrestling goes, the end-all be-all, pretty much. So, that's why it's so impacting to a lot of people that don't really have anything else going outside of WWE besides WWE. It's crazy. But going back to the point of Raw and SmackDown in 3 hours and stuff like that, I think if it was to stay on USA Network, let's just say it stays on USA Network, I think it should go back to 2 hours, because as of these days, SmackDown has been a lot quicker than Raw and a lot better than Raw. Whereas so far, Raw has been lately it's been a little bit better, but for the most part, it's been a little dragging, and it feels like they're trying to showing all these commercials and these WWE recaps and stuff like that, just try to fill time. Which is if you have 2 hours, at least you have enough to do within 2 hours instead of just like, as far as what they have right now with the roster that they have on Raw, whereas SmackDown, I feel like can be a little longer just because, like, let's look at last week or the week before. It was not even including The Rock's return. Like the week before, it was pretty damn good too. So like, I feel like they have enough time. They could have put at least another hour in there to feel that, and I think it would be entertaining, just like the other 2 hours of SmackDown would be, which it has been for the past while or so. So that's just my take on that. Like Raw should be like 2 hours back, and then be just thinking about SmackDown being 3 hours, which is that's why I had that look on my face. I was like, SmackDown 3 hours. I guess
Yeah, no, they're going to 3 hours. Yeah, they're going to 3 hours. But here's the thing: when it comes to a 3 hour show, if the creative is good and the matches are good and the stories are good, 3 hours go by quick. But when they're lagging, it could be a boring long show. That's the thing. It's a tough one because it's a tough one when you have repeat matches or to be honest with you, when you have segments with guys coming in 2 or 3 times, it kind of gets a little drag. I feel like, and no disrespect to I like the Judgment Day, but when you see the Judgment Day or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn 3 times, it's a little too much. Like especially when Cody opens up, Cody does a promo, I love it. But then Cody comes again and had a match, and then I don't go nowhere, and it's gonna set up for a main event later on in the nighttime, triple threat. I'm getting too much of that, and I'm not a big fan of it. If you know what he cut a promo, things went sideways. They're gonna do it tonight. Okay, fine. Give me some other people. Give me some, Personally, I would like them to go now 2 hours of the cut the shows 2 hours. Give me an hour. Make it 3 hours, but give the other hour taped or recorded for another day, and let people showcase the women wrestlers. Give me something, Give me showcase the women programming. And it doesn't have to be taped. We want to see, if you're doing 3 hours, you got to give me a solid hour of women wrestling. It has to be at least worthy of an hour worth of matches. It doesn't have to be like 9 o'clock is only the women's hour, because then people are cynical and they'll tune off and go somewhere else. I'm talking about give me an hour's worth of matches where they're going to sprinkle, alternate, and not giving me the same repeat of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn running in and all that stuff. And I'll be okay with it. I'll be fine with that because there's a lot of talented women that they should be showcasing more. And sometimes they SmackDown not enough time, 2 hour show, not enough time for showcase. And Raw has them right. So it's a happy medium of what's what, of who gets what. And sometimes like damn, 2.5 hours. Then maybe 2.5 hours should be the happy medium. It's just enough. 2 hours is a little too short. 3 hours is a little too long. Maybe you go to 2.5 hours, and then you get 5 hours worth of content. From Raw and SmackDown. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying this is gold. It might sound like the most stupidest idea in the world. I'm just throwing something out to see if it sticks on the wall. That's all I'm just saying. It's I think NXT is perfect with the 2 hours because you're really getting 2.5 hours. You know why? Because you're getting 2.5 hours. I know. And listen, hey, peek behind the curtain. There's a half hour of Level Up that they tape before NXT. So you're getting 2.5 hours of wrestling is just enough. And sometimes if the storylines ain't that good, it gets a little bit, but it's still good enough. And I think I think they got to go by that model, 2.5 hours. And I think that will help them. I think that will help everyone. I think it'll get everyone invested. I personally think.
Yeah, it's very rare that a 3 hour Raw is. Oh wow, that's it. That went fast. Like it's
exactly
very rare that happens like nowadays. And then when that happens, it's like, oh wow. I mean, it's pretty much if it's like that, I mean it was a pretty good show, and you want more. So I personally like when it first happened, 3 hours. I thought it was compared at this point compared to when it first happened. I always thought it was a little much. In between, I thought it was like okay. Over the years that they had it. They had more talent. They had more storylines going on that was able to kind of pretty much feel what was going on. And then also at the time, most of that was happening when COVID happened, which I don't think I had cable, but I don't think I really like tuned in to Raw during that time, especially with no audience or whatever, because it was just like, I don't know. I really didn't really think too much of like what was going on at the time, just because like you look for that crowd reaction for it to like at least help the show go by a little bit faster. Whereas you just having a match and it's just dead silence. All you hear is people hitting the mat or hitting the stairs or whatever. But like for me, I didn't really think about like 2.5 hours. That would be interesting. Like, they would have to like figure out what they would want to like, how they would want to handle that like creatively too. Because again, like I heard on that Smackdown segment with the Rock that he kind of like not blocked
He went over.
but he went over. Yeah, so
He
like,
went over. He went over, and they had to cut. They had to cut from other stuff, and that's the thing. They have to go on those adjustments there because we told you SmackDown went quick. It was like, damn, it's really. And we've been saying when we do the watch alongs, we're like, damn, it's already over. And it's like, damn, that's mad fast. And we're like, damn, we just want that extra. And sometimes it's like, damn, we just had that extra half hour because this was cooking. And I think that's what it is. I think 3 hours is a little too long. 2 hours is all right. So it's on the sweet spot, but sometimes a little quick. Because look what happens. And again, here's the perfect example. I'm not comparing it or I don't want to. But look at Dynamite. Dynamite is 2 hours, and sometimes they feel like they're cramming a lot of crap on one segment. Oh yeah, go up there. Like, they look like the Hispanic family telling everybody to run to the photo op. Come on, get in the photo. Because you see, everyone come out running like a bunch of nuts to get in and wrestle, and this guy comes in, and then this one comes out, and then you got the bushwhackers coming in there to get involved in the match. It seems like a chaos, a clusterfuck, and because it's only 2 hour show, and then they don't leave, and then women get stuck at 9:30 for 10 minutes. It's a rinse and repeat cookie cutter, and it's not like they never have enough time, and they always put things in. They don't let fans breathe. And the thing is, on a Raw, 3 hours they let too much breathing time because sometimes you see the folks don't get invested in the women's matches because they're tired out. So it's a roller coaster up and down. It doesn't, the happy medium on that. It's rough to see there. Personally, I would like to continue. And by the way, the Hulu agreement with the WWE, I think, ends in these days now, and they won't be showing no more Hulu on WWE. Because I think that's over. That deal comes to an end, I believe. That's done as well. It's surprised because Hulu is part of the ESPN family with the bundle. Yeah. I'm surprised they're not going to re-up and at least continue. So it's a lot of different things there with it. So, but that's TKO Thursday, man. That's what TKO Thursday is here. TKO Endeavor. And by the way, the stock has dropped 28% with the announcements of the merger, but it will pick up with all these new deals with the TV, with all these releases. But the TV deal with the influx of cash coming in the billions, that stock will rise. So don't be surprised if you have your TKO WWE stocks drop a little bit. Don't need to panic. It will rise now once the TV deals are in place, and your stock will continue to rise right now. So hang in there. Don't panic, and we'll see there. Everyone now at 5 o'clock is going to watch out for NXT. And like you said, how the hell they know exactly the time and date? Yeah. That's weird and also, by the way, all you guys, the saps, the Meltzers, the dickheads, because that's what you are. That video footage of Randy Orton coming out with his gear, that was taken by an NXT audience participant who's gonna go watch NXT. Don't make it sound like you were there and they gave you that exclusive. Don't make it sound like that he was in the PC. It was a fan who saw him, put it on the freaking video and his Twitter, and you guys took it, saying that, and you might have called someone, whoever's your stooge in the WWE, but see, that gives you the information, might have confirmed the story. But don't take it credit that it was you who knew all along that Randy Orton was at the Performance Center. Because that's total bullshit.
I mean, I was surprised. I got there a little late. And Jay, not with the season, but the other one. I was getting close to get Disney or whatever. Yeah, he I was in line. I was like right in front of the shopping thing, whatever. He came around. He's like, "Yo, you missed it. Like earlier, Randy Orton was here at the PC." I was like, "What is he at? What? Get out of here now, for real." Like he's looking serious. Like, he's here. And then about an hour later, Twitter blew up. Randy, Randy might be coming back. Randy might be. I seen it.
Yeah. And they say like, yo, we know for a fact that I know he was been here. I'm like, stop lying. You saw the kid that put the poster video. He saw Vandy Orton there, and that it's come on. I mean, how many times we've seen different wrestlers that we seen and we don't go posting and saying that they're at the PC. I mean, how many wrestlers we seen? I mean, from my goodness, I love how they want to take credit. Like they're the ones that breaking the news. They were the first ones that knew that he was at the performance center. Yeah, they didn't know shit. Come on, not today.
What if you show up at Smackdown? What's the possible plans of him and Johnson? Bro, chill, man, chill. Like, yeah, he was there. Like, take it easy. And then when he doesn't show up, and then they'd be like,
he's gonna TKO. He's gonna RKO Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. And then when he show up, he was like, oh, what happened? Not today. Not today.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. But I was a little I was a little more shocked than anything. Like, it wasn't like, I was like, damn, I missed a chance to see him like live. Like, I didn't know he was there. It was crazy, man. Like, come on, y'all need to chill out. You know, let the man like train and please have him get back in ring shape. They say he looks a little bigger. Again, that's just hearsay or whatever. It was just good. I guess to me it was just good that to know that there's a potential Survivor Series or a Royal Rumble thing, whatever that could be with him. Let's just
now that's understandable. That's understandable. Maybe there, or maybe even Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. They gotta stack that card up. But to have him, he's gonna be there on Monday Night Raw. This is what I gotta say. Smackdown. This is what.
Not tonight.
I didn't hear the audio, but I seen the video. I started laughing. Like, not today. Whatever he said after that.
But you know what? I think that's all for this afternoon for this emergency podcast here. I got home from work, did the thumbnail. Now I'm gonna have some dinner before I gotta go to the 49er game and the Giants tonight. That's gonna be good there. So if you're interested to come join me, you can join me, man.
Yeah. Let me just say one more thing, like as far as like,
Mm-hmm.
and then let you go. But as far as like the Raw 3-hour thing, like I miss when it was like they used to. When did they stop going over? Because it was like always 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, but it was always that extra 15-minute, 20-minute like after.
Mm-hmm.
Like when did they? What? They was always on the USA Network. They did that on the USA Network. Like all of a sudden, why it stopped? It was maybe it's because of the 3-hour thing. They want to give us more time, but like if they can see the 3-hour thing is not really doing too much. Like you said, they have to. There's a whole bunch of empty air there. Like at least if you go back to 2 hours, you have that little extra 15, 20 minutes because it's like, we're over. Let's see what's going to happen. Like, there's a potential thing that can happen and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I just marked that. I missed those days. Like it was.
I tell you why they went to 3 hours, Terrence, because Monday Night Nitro used to start at 8:00. So they used to take jabs or remember Monday Night Raw used to be taped and used to be live after a premium live event after pay-per-view. They will be live that Monday. Then after that will be pretty much taped until the other pay-per-view. Before they went fully live. So Nitro used to come on an hour early so they could try to steal the wrestling community and stay on Nitro, not switch over to Raw, and then we'll give out the results of the tape Raw matches. Like, why are you gonna go watch that boring wrestling program? We're gonna see Undertaker. Vince McMahon is gonna be Vince is gonna be the minion, or remember when he was the Ministry of Darkness? So and then they did that with the Mankind that backfired. And they started going 3 hours long live. So because of the WCW effect, they went 3 hours and they started going live, and that's when they stood that route. They stood with that formula. They thought that the wrestling community stood there and they kept it, and that's how they trumped WCW because they were. Now you had to choose. Either you start watching Monday Night Raw or you're going to start watching Nitro. Now we're not going to let you go for an hour, and then they'll stack up the Nitro card at the end of the night with a mystery person because that's what they were doing, always bringing XWE wrestlers, similar to what AEW does at the end of the show, and you wanted to watch the end because you were going to see who joined WCW that night, and that's why Vince McMahon started that with that 3 hours, and that's how the 3 hour thing came to a fruition, and they kept it that way. And you said right. when they were from 9 to, and they will go over like 11:15. That's almost close to the 2.5 hour happy medium that we were talking about.
Right.
You know, so maybe that's something. Maybe that's something. Maybe there's legs there. Maybe there is.
They can do that.
Maybe there's legs there. But
Yeah,
that's why. And if there's any news of any of our NXT favorites, if you're available, I come back on for another hour at 6 to 7 before the 8 o'clock kickoff. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Just regular. Hopefully just NXT, like not non-favorite for me. Like if this people not being used, like it's like for them.
I hate to speculate. And I was saying, yeah. I was saying this earlier. Some names right before you came on. I see Quincy Elliott in some trouble. Maybe a release. Quincy. Yeah. You could see a name like Quincy Brooklyn. She was been hurt and she recovered. Now she's healthy. She's a blonde chick that looks similar to
Brooklyn. Or something like that.
Something like she's been on there for quite some time. Not seen on TV. Dante Chen could be in some trouble. Nero could be in some trouble. That been there and not getting a lot of rep. Javi, Big Body Javi could be in some trouble as well. I hate to say that. Big Body Javi could be in some deep trouble there. Double Cable might be in some trouble. There's nothing there really. I said even Dijak for a bit because I'm not feeling him. He's going around slapping trees. I mean, I'm not feeling him. Slapping trees. But even though he's scheduled for a match with Eddie Thorpe next week, but things happen, subject to change. We already seen the Diaz gone. Fowler and Reed, they're gone. Lika Saramoro could be gone because she hasn't really been. She's not really living in the United States. She comes, it's a mutual thing. They could part ways. So I'm throwing some of those names out there. The other guy, I think is Needy or Nima, the Indian, the smaller Indian guy that he wrestles on Level Up. That sometimes his family comes and watch along with us. He looks like he's a high flyer who wears like orange and turquoise trunks. You see him, you're like, oh yeah. You'll see him once in a while Level Up. Not a lot of. He hasn't been on the main roster of NXT on Monday night on Tuesday night, but he has wrestled a lot of Level Up matches. He could be in some trouble. He could be in some trouble there. Let me see who else. Boa hasn't been really anything spectacular coming back. Those kind of guys have been there. We've seen them in a couple of rotations long enough with NXT that hasn't really been. You see them in house shows, but they really not. Maybe they're not developing well, so they might say, you know what, we gotta let you go. We gotta let you sell them elsewhere. So I'm thinking those type of names there. And maybe some of the kids that we never got to see really, Letty. Letty, all she does is, and she's the volleyball player. She's tall, long, beautiful legs, and she's from Chase U. And she's been there for a while too. Haven't seen her really get in the wrestling ring. All I see her doing is just sitting in State U University. That's it. And she's a volleyball player. She's got the physique, but you haven't even got a Level Up match. Lola just got here last year, and she was already there before Lola. And look where Lola already.
Lola doing good, man. You saw it.
Phenomenal match with Roxanne, and I like the finish because it was like a kind of a roll up. It wasn't like Roxanne hit her with her own finishing move for Pop Rocks, so you could run it back. Because there wasn't really a clean definitive. It was a veteran move who outwitted Lola, although Roxanne is really not a veteran, but when has more ring experience, and it showed there on Lola, and I loved it. I love the psychology of the match with that. That was a really good psychology of that, and it makes it show you that she's ready for the breakout tournament for Lola Vice. But that's what it shows there. So we'll wait to see. We'll wait to see what the NXT releases are. We gave you our names here for we think that might be in some trouble with the NXT roster. I don't think anyone surprising other than Quincy Elliott to me. It's the only one that I can think of that will be like, oh damn, surprising. I don't think anyone that's being used unless if it's a double cable or even Gulak. I even said Drew Gulak. I mean, unless they're preparing them as new managers. If they're preparing Gulak as a manager, Yes,
Yeah.
that then works. That's why I was in favor. I don't remember if you remember me saying last year I wanted before the release Sheldon Benjamin to be brought to NXT, and when Roderick Strong had his pennies in his bunch, I wanted Benjamin to be the manager or the run or who was in charge of Diamond Mine, get them into shape, because I was saying it was a long-term booking. I've been saying this since last year. If you would have had Benjamin getting the Creed brothers ready to come up now, just think about it. And all they're doing sort of two different things now. Diamond Mine versus the Alpha Academy, and now that November was coming up, that would have been interesting. That would have been fun. That would have been, Benjamin bringing back the Diamond Mine to go up against Alpha Academy, two different academies.
Yeah.
It would have been fun, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen with that mine. I thought Benjamin should have been ready for a manager in that mentor role down in NXT there. I'm surprised Apollo Crews is still on the roster.
Yeah, what's going on with him? I haven't heard nothing from him at all.
I'm surprised. And there's still names that could be cut. Apollo Crews hasn't been really used. Nikki Cross, who just got her PhD, might not be being used either.
Yeah.
So they might release her. There's a few other names out there. Maybe they get rid of both of the other members of Hit Row. Although I think it's a mistake with B-Fab. I think she has a future in WWE. I don't like the other guy too much, personally, but names like that, there's Ciampa is going to fight Gunther now, but they said that was the lowest rated segment in years in Raw when he wrestled. I was like, wow.
Giovanni. Well, because not a lot of people know Giovanni. It's not enough against Tommaso. It's just, they gotta stop. They gotta stop chopping Gio. Gio's got to get some wins. And I think they did the service with Gunther as Intercontinental Champion. They should have had Imperium go after and get those tag team titles. And now you have a group where they're holding some kind of golds with the tag, even if they would have lost it by now. But they made it the service, because you would have made Giovanni and Ludwig a little more elevated and more not jobbers for Gunther's. Now you beat them. Now you have a shot at Gunther. They're I don't like that's why Giovanni doesn't resonate, and I hope he doesn't get let go or released because of that, because he fits the part. He could wrestle, and they're also not letting him wrestle the way he wrestled in NXT. So they're jobbing him out there. They gotta make Imperium important. They got somehow, some way, they gotta get those titles off of Judgment Day or separate them, where Imperium has to hold tag team gold and let them be a prominent tag team champions. Now, I don't like the storyline where they're mad at Giovanni. Kaiser's getting in his face, barking at him. I'm not liking that direction with that either. And that's why you get low segments like that. You gotta know how to build guys up. Yeah,
but that's it.
Another part of the issue is the time issue. Yeah.
That too. But you have a 3 hour, but Imperium is a 3 hour show. There is time here. Again, we don't have to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out again for 3 times and Cody. We love Cody, yes. But we don't need them to come every time, 3 different times on the show. We don't need to see them in the backstage vignette. That's time taken away for some wrestlers, that could be. I know they're an important storyline and they're moving a product. They're moving us, they're reeling us in. They're big names, but also need to give some more airtime for some of these folks, so when there isn't no low segments or cool down segment when you have a Ciampa versus Giovanni match and all that. And you also got to give Giovanni some wins, because Ciampa's going to win. You already know. So you know what? I'm going to go check the score on Monday Night Football. I know Ciampa's going to beat this guy. Right. They don't book him right. Exactly. That's what hurt it there. Exactly. That's what hurt it. But we'll see how that goes. Another hour and a half there. I'm going to have dinner, get ready for the football game, and I'll see you probably later. And hopefully not. So hopefully not anything negative, but hopefully see you for the football, the Niners and Giants. So thank you guys for joining us here on the Heel of the Ring podcast. We'll see you later and talk to you soon. Peace out.
I'm awesome! You people